So, we are quite a few games into the regular season, so I thought it'd be a good time to go over every team's most surprising player so far. Yesterday, I did the Eastern Conference, so today I'm going to be doing the Western Conference. This list is based off of expectations, and it's only good surprises, so no disappointing players, but rather players who are outperforming expectations. Okay, so let's get into it. And this list is ordered in the team's record so far. So, starting with the best team in the West so far, or tied for the best team in the West so far, the Clippers. And for me, their most surprising player has been Paul George. Paul George is a player who received a lot of hate for his playoff run and criticism, and rightly so, as he was quite disappointing and sort of choked. But this season, he's off to a great start, averaging 25 points, 6 rebounds, and 5.5 assists. People forget, but Paul George was a top 3 MVP candidate in 2018-19, so he is capable of this. He is shooting it absolutely incredibly, a bit unsustainably, but he is shooting it very well. As for the differences from last year, his confidence, the Clippers are moving the ball more, which helps him out, and he's just shooting very well, looking for a shot, and playing very well. So 25 points per game, he's the Clippers' most surprising player. Next, we move on to the Lakers, who don't really have an outstanding candidate. They're one of the best teams in the NBA as expected, and everyone's playing pretty well. But I would say their most surprising player is Kyle Kuzma. Kuz is averaging 10.5 points and 5 boards, which are numbers which don't jump off the page, but what has impressed me is the fact that he's shooting 40% from 3. That is very impressive. And it looks like he's finally adapted to being a role player and a shooter off the bench. I mean, there were times in the past where, he's trying to do too much. When you have players like LeBron and Anthony Davis, all you need to do is just be a shooter and provide spacing and play hard. And it looks like he's finally accepted his role. He's shooting it well from 3. He's shooting quite a few attempts from 3 compared to his from other places. I think it's 50% of his attempts come from 3, 50% from 2. So knowing his role, shooting well from 3, he's the Lakers' most surprising player so far. Next, we get to the Jazz, who I did a whole video on. They are playing very well, and their most surprising player is Mike Conley. His numbers don't jump off the page. 16 points, 6 assists, and 4 rebounds. But what has really been the reason he's on this list is his shooting. He is shooting very well from 3 and from the field. He's also adapted well to the new system in Utah. Obviously, last year he struggled a bit, but he looks like he's finally adapting and playing very well both on and off the ball. 6 assists, that's a good number of assists for a player who's not always on the ball, as Donovan Mitchell takes some of the ball handling responsibilities away from him. But Conley is playing very well in Utah, and he's their most surprising player to start off the season. Next, we get to the Suns, and their most surprising player is Mikal Bridges. Mikal Bridges is averaging 15 points and 6 rebounds, which is very good, and he's shooting very efficiently, and he's also a good defender. He's proving the Suns right that he can be a starting forward for them, him and Cameron Johnson, and they're right to trade Kelly Oubre for Chris Paul. His shooting has just been very good, and then obviously his defense is also very good, and that's the type of player you want to put to players like next to players like Chris Paul, Devin Booker, and DeAndre Ayton. So playing very well, 15 points a game, and fits well with all their other stars. So he's their most surprising player. Next, we get to the Portland Trail Blazers, and their most impressive player is CJ McCollum. Yes, he got injured, but it's so far he's been very good. Averaging almost 27 points, as well as 4 rebounds and 5 assists. And also shooting very efficiently. He's one of the most versatile scorers in the NBA. He's a very good scorer. Just one-on-one from the mid-range and from 3. And that's reflected with his 27 points per game. And, he's playing very well so far, and it's a bit disappointing that he got injured because the Blazers, after a bit of a tough tough start are playing a bit better now, especially offensively. So McCollum has been the Blazers' most surprising player so far, and he's playing very well, and it's just too bad that he got injured. Next, we get to the Memphis Grizzlies, who, speaking of injuries, have struggled through quite a few injuries, both to Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr., their two best players, or, their two cornerstones. So I'm going to say their most surprising player so far has been Kyle Anderson, just sort of keeping the team afloat and together without the two stars, averaging 12.5 points, 7 boards, and 4 assists. He's not a player that's super impressive, just both in his play style. I mean, he has the nickname Slow-Mo, and it's not for no reason. He is one of the slowest players in the NBA, but gets the job done. He's playing well, shooting okay, scoring some points, getting some boards, getting some assists, keeping them afloat without their two main guys. I'm going to say the Grizzlies' most surprising player is Kyle Anderson. Next, we get to the Golden State Warriors, who have had an up and down season. They started a bit shaky, and then they went on a nice run of games, and then they're just cooling down a bit now. But I'm going to say their most surprising player is Andrew Wiggins. Obviously, we know the talent is there with Wiggins, but it was just, the discipline and the defense and things like that. But that looks like it has been changed a bit this season. He's averaging almost 18 points, along with 5 rebounds and 1.5 blocks, which is very impressive for a wing player. He's played great defense, which is, a big thing with Wiggins. We always saw the physical tools, and he was always compared to good defensive players, but it hasn't really happened for him so far. But he's turning that around this season, playing very good defense. He locked down Kawhi in the Clippers game. 1.5 blocks, that's very impressive. And then the shooting is also impressive. Not trying to do so too much, but trying to make the smart play most of the time. That's been a focus for the Warriors, and he's shooting over almost 40% from 3, which is very impressive for him, and that's what they need in terms of a wing player who can both defend and shoot, and they're getting that from Wiggins so far, and he's been their most surprising player. Next, we get to the Nuggets, who have been a bit disappointing to start the season, mainly defensively. They're a very poor defensive team, but I'm going to say their most surprising player so far is Jokic. Yes, we know Jokic is very good, but he's averaging 25.5 points, 11 rebounds, and 10 assists, so a triple-double average, as well as 2 steals on 57% from the field. So playing very, very well. The scoring, he's more aggressive this year, partly out of necessity because his teammates aren't playing so well. And in the assists, we know how good a passer Jokic is, both from the post and off the dribble. He can bring the ball up. He's just the complete package from a center. And then 2 steals, helping out defensively, not normally his strong suit, but getting 2 steals, definitely helping out the team there. So Jokic, the Nuggets' most surprising player. Next, we get to the Mavericks, who didn't have an outstanding candidate. I'd say all their players are playing decently, but I've gone with Tim Hardaway Jr., who's become even more important for them, and his shooting has become even more important with them trading Seth Curry. He's currently averaging 17.5 points, and he's shooting 40% from 3, so that's very impressive. Obviously, his role is to shoot the ball and space the floor out for guys like Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis, and he's doing that very well, shooting and scoring the ball. 17.5 points per game. That's very impressive, and for me, he's the Mavericks' most surprising player so far. Next, we get to the Spurs, who have been a bit of a weird team this season. I'm going to say their most impressive player has been Keldon Johnson, averaging 14 points and 7.5 rebounds. Hasn't played too much in his career. Is a very young player, a second-year player, and he just looks like he's taking the step. He's very promising, and his shooting from 3 isn't great, but he's good inside, and he can be a wing for them in the future as they look to shift from the older generation with DeRozan and Aldridge to the new young generation with guys like Derek White and Jakob Poeltl and DeJounte Murray and Lonnie Walker, and it looks like Keldon Johnson is going to be a part of that because he's playing very well, and for me, he's the Spurs' most surprising player so far. Next, we get to the Thunder, who are a player who are is a team that's been a bit surprising, just with that they're not near the that they're not bottom of the Western Conference, and sort of in the play-in hunt. I don't know if that'll hold up, but their most surprising player so far has been Lu Dort, who's averaging 14 points per game on 43.5% from three on 5.5 attempts a game. That is very impressive. We all know he's a great defender, guarding James Harden in that Houston series last year, and he's continued to be a good defender, but there was always questions about his shooting and how good a shooter he is. But this season, he's proving that wrong. 43.5%. That is insane. That's one of the best 3-point percentages in the league, as well on 5.5 a game. So he's not afraid to shoot them, and that's very impressive. I think it will probably decrease a bit as we go through the season, just because that's a bit unsustainable. But the Thunder's most surprising player, Lu Dort, due to his incredible 3-point shooting and his defense. Next, we get to the Kings, and I've tried not to pick rookies for this series, but the Kings just have had no one who's playing well, really. So, except for their rookie, Tyrese Halliburton. So, I've been kind of forced to pick Tyrese Halliburton. And he is playing very well, so he is deserving to be on this list. Currently averaging 11 points and 5 assists on great efficiency. He's a very smart player, a player who can handle the ball, shoot, pass it a bit. He's a good passer, and he's a good defender. So he is looking like a very good rookie, just with the ability to do almost anything on the court, and he projects to be a very, very good starter in the NBA, if not a multiple-time All-Star. So he's looking really good. He may be the Kings' best player right now. I mean, probably not, but in the future, he definitely has that type of potential to be a very good player and to be a very good backcourt partner for De'Aaron Fox. So Tyrese Halliburton has really impressed me so far, and he's the Kings' most surprising player. Next, we get to the Pelicans, who have been a bit of a disappointing team. I almost picked Zion for this, but instead I'm going for Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who is a second-year player, like many other players featured on this list. And he's playing very well so far to start the season, currently averaging 11 points in only 20 minutes off the bench. And, maybe he should be getting some more minutes because he can offer them some scoring and some shooting from the perimeter. And he's been a very good scorer off the bench. And for me, he's their most surprising player, a player with some potential who can maybe grow into a starter for the Pelicans alongside Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson and whoever else they want to keep from their young core. Next, we move on to the Houston Rockets and maybe the most surprising player, and that is Christian Wood. Christian Wood is just a beast, man. He's currently averaging 23.5 points as well as 11 boards, and on offense, he really is the complete package. He is an incredible pick-and-roll player with his ability and his athleticism to dive to the rim and catch lobs and catch pocket passes and then just finish them either with dunks or layups. He can also pop, though. He's a very good 3-point shooter, both on the pop and spotting up, and he can handle the ball a bit and he can post up a little bit, similar to Anthony Davis almost. Obviously not as good, and also defensively he's not great, but on offense he's been really impressive, and for me he's someone that the Rockets can build around in the future, and he's their most impressive and most surprising player so far. Next, we get to the Timberwolves, who have been also a bit disappointing. None of their stars have really performed up to their standards, and they're not great defensively, and they have a lot of problems. But their most surprising player for me has been Naz Reid, currently averaging 11 points and 4 boards. He's a good backup big man who can give them some good energy off the bench, and the standard wasn't too high to get into this list for the Wolves, but he's impressed me in the minutes he's played, some good energy off the bench, and it looks like a solid big, so he's the Wolves' most surprising player. Okay, that's the end of this video. Thanks for watching, guys. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.